right? And studies specifically showed that with massive amounts of negative ions, right, your body actually starts to recover itself, and it's a key ingredient that something people in the cities like us aren't really absorbing because you don't get much of it.
Hey tribe, Stephanie Dixon here for Green is the New Black TV, your guide to conscious living in Asia. Today we are shooting in Singapore and chatting with Nicholas Cheng, the founder of Kairos.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So tell us a little bit about your journey and what Kairos actually means.
So Kairos is split into two words. Kairos means an opportune time, and means health. So for us, it came at an opportune time to know about health, and therefore we decided to inculcate that into our company name.
So why was it an opportune time to learn about health? Take us back a little bit to how you got started with all of this.
So when I was running my own business previously, it was really stressful and all, and I was gaining a lot of weight, getting high blood pressure and everything, and stress, especially in Singapore. So 4 years ago, when my mom-in-law was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, we decided to consider natural means for her to try to improve her quality of life. Yeah, and so we actually heard about negative ion clothing from a Western GP in Singapore, and we decided to explore that. So after trying the clothing, she actually felt a lot better focus, more energy. Seeing that opportunity, and we realized that she's actually getting better, we were very encouraged to try something else. So we started to explore other health things, and that's when my health really started to improve significantly.
Yeah, so I'm so curious, maybe you can actually explain to us what are negative ions?
Okay, so negative ions is everywhere, right? So, but it's freely available in nature, right? So, in forests and waterfalls is where there's a significant amount, which is why when you go to those places, right, when you breathe in the air and all, you realize that it's so much refreshing, right? And studies specifically showed that with massive amounts of negative ions, right, your body actually starts to recover itself, and it's a key ingredient that something people in the cities like us aren't really absorbing because you don't get much of it there.
Okay, so when you go, as you said, to waterfalls or to mountains and everything, the reason we feel so calm and so relaxed is because of the negative ions.
Yes, it is.
Wow, that's so interesting. Now, you were going to show me about negative ions in our clothes, so
Yes.
walk me through that.
So this meter is actually a static meter. Okay, so it measures both positive and negative static. Okay, so when you're able to measure that, you're able to measure ions at the same time. So if I turn it on, right, notice it's slightly positive.
Okay.
So this means that where we are has more positive ions than negative ions. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to zero it. Okay, so I'm going to put on your material.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so you can take a look at your material.
Oh, it's changing a lot.
Yeah,
so
but it's showing
positive.
Positive,
Yes.
right? Okay,
Yeah.
so this means that your material, probably cotton or silk, generates positive.
Okay.
Which when it's on our skin, right, will absorb the positiveness
Got it.
of it. Yeah, and it's something that we actually don't really want. One of this is a wristband, but I can use it on my clothing as well. So the clothing comes in many different forms, right? And if I were to put on it, you can see the reading.
Yeah, negative.
Negative.
Interesting.
Yes. So this material itself generates negative, and when it's on our skin, it's absorbed in. So similar to how it works in nature, because in nature there's an abundance of negative ions in the air. So other than breathing in, the best thing is actually our skin, which keeps, because it's porous, so the negative ions just keep absorbing in. So
Yeah.
that's how it works. And same theory here, but it's on the clothes.
Amazing. So let's share a little bit more about what are the actual health benefits that we can see with negative ion clothing.
So the first thing most people see, and you can see it when you go camping in nature and all, is actually your sleep. You notice first thing, you sleep better. You might sleep the same amount of time, but you get more energy when you wake up. And when the Japanese researched about it, they realized that if you have higher dose of negative ions, okay, so in nature it's about 10,000 to 20,000 negative ions, but when you increase it to 100,000 to 500,000, they realize that your body starts to self-heal itself. So stuff like cholesterol, like for me, my eczema actually disappeared. I was plagued for 20 years with it, and after wearing it, I realized that it just disappeared, and I was really shocked.
Wonderful case study for the clothes.
Yes.
So what are some of the other amazing stories that or case studies that you've kind of seen with negative ion clothing?
People with they call this the 3 highs in Singapore: cholesterol, glucose level, and high blood pressure, right? And For people who just want to try the clothing first, they have tried the clothing and maintain everything normal. So they're the best control, right? Diet and everything has not changed. In 3 months, 3 to 6 months, when they check their blood tests, everything actually goes back to normal.
That's insane. But maybe some people watching are like, yeah, can clothing really do that? So let's talk about some of the myths or maybe misconceptions that maybe our viewers are kind of thinking about that you want to bust.
One myth to break is actually the density of negative ions. Okay, because negative ions has been heavily researched. Okay, more researched in Japan, right? And they call it minus ion there. The density is very important because if you don't hit the right amount of density, the expectation is very different. So, for example, if I were to wear just a wristband, right? So that generates about 10,000 negative ions. Now that amount on that part of the skin can be useful, right? It will help boost your overall immune, right? But it would not give you any miraculous health benefits such as expecting to sleep better or to see your blood pressure going down, that sort of stuff. So that's one thing that we want to be very clear about. Because sometimes people come and they say, oh, I just want to try and buy a pair of socks, right? And they wear it and they say, hey, it doesn't work for me. Yeah, it doesn't work because scientifically, right, and medically, it doesn't really work. Yeah, and which comes to another point where in Japan even they have a machine, right, that actually generates up to 20 million negative ions, right? Yeah, so those are medically certified, very different, and those machines can actually help people with Parkinson's and also Alzheimer's. Yeah, so actually Japan is very forward when it comes to such benefits.
What would Mother Nature say if she could speak right now?
Keep breathing.
Keep breathing.
Keep absorbing the negative ions.
Yeah, breathe it in. Breathe in that good negative ions.
Yeah, and absorb it, especially through your skin, because that's where we actually absorb the most amount of negative ions.
So at Green is the New Black, we're all about taking little green steps. So what are some little green steps that we can all take today?
Wear negative ion clothing.
Yes.
Instead of looking at the goal, right, take one little step every day.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that. Well, thank you so much, Nicholas, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for watching. I hope you learned something today so that you can live more consciously tomorrow.